Subject EVS 2, Standard 4th. Hello students, I am Elizabeth Sibi and today we are going to learn the chapter. So students, chapter name is Defeat of Internal Enemies. Defeat means to win a game or fight against somebody or to beat somebody. So let us see how Shivaji won the defeat of internal enemies. So students, the very first concept is by use of force. Here is the image. Danpada, Talwar, Kanda. This all is by use of force. Let us study in detail how Shivaji used this force to defeat the internal enemies. The marvels of the 12 marvels was simple Maratha flocks who lived for Swaraj and were willing to die for it. Some people were jealous of Shivaji's achievements. Shivaji visited and drove them out. So students, you know that at the very early age, Shivaji started to think higher things to fight the enemies. So, in this, there were 12 marvels of Shivaji. Some marvels were jealous of Shivaji's achievement. They also attacked Shivaji. And Shivaji also attacked them and left them behind. Some marvels lived for Swaraj and they were willing to die for it. They were very simple Maratha flock. They loved Shivaji more than their life. He had to bring such people to book. So students, we will study about the marvels of 12 marvels gathered around Shivaji, ready to do his binding. Kandoji and Baji Gorpade were two Sardars in service of Adil Shah. Bajaji Naik Nimbalkar of Paltan was Shivaji's own brother-in-law. Sambhaji Moite of Sope, a near relative of Shivaji, also started plotting against Shivaji. So students, let us now study in detail. The marvels of the 12 marvels gathered around Shivaji, ready to do his binding. Binding means the ordering or requesting of someone to do something. Kandoji and Baji Gorpade were the two Sardars in service of Adil Shah. The Shah incited them against Shivaji. They created a lot of trouble in Kundana district, but Shivaji was more than a match for them. The two Sardars created a lot of trouble in the Kundana district, but Shivaji was more a match for them. For Shivaji, duty came first, and he published his relatives like Baji Nayak, Nimbalkar, and Sambhaji Moite was who created difficulties. Bajaji Nayak Nimbalkar of Paltan was Shivaji's own brother-in-law. Brother-in-law means the brother of one's wife or husband. So student, who was the brother-in-law of Shivaji? Bajaji Nayak Nimbalkar. But Shivaji had to fight many battles against him. However, later on, members of this family stood by Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj had to fight many battles against Bajaji Naik Nimbalkar of Paltan, his own brother-in-law. Later, his family stood by Shivaji Maharaj. So students, Shivaji had to fight many battles with his own relatives, own cousins to achieve that particular thing. Later on, Shivaji's family stood for Shivaji. You know that Saibai, the wife of Shivaji, stood for Shivaji for many of the things. Jijabai, the mother of Shivaji, loved Shivaji a lot. Shivaji told many things to Jijabai. Sambhaji Mohit of Supe, a near relative of Shivaji, also started plotting against him. Plotting means secretly make plans to carry out an illegal or harmful action. See students, how Shivaji relative, who is a relative, Sambhaji Moite, also started plotting against Shivaji. So let us see whether Sambhaji plotting works or no. Shivaji arrested him at Supe and banished. Banished means sent away from a country or place as official punishment him to Karnataka. So students, Shivaji sent Sambhaji Moite of Supe, a near relative of Shivaji, who started to plot against Shivaji. So Shivaji arrested him and sent away from the country. And sent away to which country? Karnataka. With Shivaji, duty came first and relative afterwards. So students, let us study the next concept. Chandarahu, More of Javali. Chandarahu was a Maratha chief under Deccan who was instrumental in the construction of strongest of forts like Raigad. Now, let us study in detail. So students, we will study about the greatness of Shivaji's achievements was recognized and uploaded everywhere. Uploaded means to hit your hands together noisily, clap in order to show that you like somebody or something. The More of Jawali looked up Shivaji as a mole in the eye. More was the Jagidar of Jawali. The, their Jagir extended from Raigad to Koina Valley, along with this title Chandarahu was conferred upon him by Adil Shah. So students, the greatness of Shivaji's achievement was recognized and uploaded everywhere. He captivated the heart of these people. Some people did not like this. They looked upon Shivaji as a mole in the eye. The More of Javali was one such person. More was a Jagidar of Javali. This Jagir, which extended from Raigad to Koina Valley along with the title Chandarahu, was conferred upon him by Adil Shah. Javali was covered with a thick forest. It was full of wildlife. More's Javali was thus like a tiger's hideout. No one had the courage to cross More's path except Shivaji. So students, you know that Shivaji had a great courage. His marvels did everything for him. Some of the marvels did not like Shivaji. So let us see, did Shivaji cross the More's path or not? Tigers, wolves, and bears roam freely in Jawali forest. So students, as I told you, that Jawali was covered with such thick forest that even during broad daylight, the sun rays hardly pretended it. It was full of wildlife. There were many animals who were roaming freely. No one crossed More's path. Only Shivaji had the courage to do so. Adil Shah had conferred the title of Chandarahu on More's of Jawali. Daulat Ram More died in 1645. There was a fight for succession among his enemies. Shivaji backed Yashwantrao More, who was with Shivaji's help. The Gadi as Chandarahu in return for Shivaji's help. Yashwantrao promised to help Shivaji in his struggle and also pay him as annual tribute. But he forgot all this once he succeeded to the Gadi. He became troublesome. He started attacking Shivaji's territory and harassing the people. Shivaji realized that unless More was punished, he would remain a danger to Swaraj. So students, let us study the next concept. Rebel. Rebel means a person who fights against his country, government, because he wants things to change. And you will die. Let us read the concept in detail. Shivaji first sent a stiff note to Yashwantrao More, who called yourself the Raja. The constant of Jawali was a difficult operation. So student, Shivaji sent a note to Yashwantrao More, who called himself as a Raja. And Jawali was a difficult operation because Jawali was full of wildlife and it was covered with thick forest. In a very rude reply, Yashwantrao said, "You are a Raja of only yesterday. Who gave you this kingdom? Adil Shah gave me the throne and the panoply of a Raja." Shivaji replied, Give up, give up Jawali and your pretensions. Pretensions means a claim of something to kingship. Come before your master with folded hands and accept this service. So students, Shivaji first sent a stiff note to Yashwantrao More. You call yourself a Raja, but I am the Raja of this territory. This kingdom is Lord Shiva's gift to me. So do not call yourself the Raja. Student, Yashandra reply was very rude. He said that if you come to Jawali, you will be trapped. By the grace of God, I have received from Adil Shah the title of Raja. He also, in his gracious, gave me a throne and panoply of a Raja. If you start any trouble here, you will badly get hurt. So children, Shivaji replied, Give up Jawali and your pretensions to kingship. Come before your master with folded hands and accept this service. You will refuse to do so at the risk of your life. As you all know, that Jawali was covered with full of forest. Only Shivaji dared to cross the path. Let us see further. The concept of Jawali was a difficult operation. It was covered with thick forest and protected by impermeable means unable to capture or broken into. Rairi fort. Shivaji attacked Jawali. Shivaji conquered Jawali and then marched on Rairi. Marched means to walk with regular steps. So students, you know that Jawali was full of forest. Wild animals, tigers, wolves and bears roam freely. And you also know that if Shivaji thought something, he achieved it at any cost. The marbles were even ready to die for him. So, after capturing Jawali, Shivaji then marched to Rairi. So, let us see whether Rairi fort the Shivaji had captured or not. Yashwanthav held out for about a month but suffered very heavy losses. Yashwanthav fought desperately for 3 months, but, but he had to give up. Yashwanthav then escaped to Rairi along with his family. Shivaji conquered Jowali. He laid siege to Fort Rairi and Yashwanthav by fort fighting desperately for 3 months. He finally then had to give up. He couldn't achieve because he suffered heavy losses. Shivaji conquered Jowali and then marched on Rairi. So students, after a lot of attacks of the enemies, a lot of fights, finally Shivaji conquered, achieved Jowali and then he marched to Rairi fort. So let us see whether Shivaji has captured Rairi fort or no. So students, let us study the next concept, that is Fort Raigad. Raigad is a hill fort situated in district of Maharashtra, India. The Raigad fort was seized by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and made it his capital in 1674 when he was crowned as a king of Maratha kingdom, which later developed into Maratha emperor, eventually covering much of western and central India. Now, let us study the concept of Raigad. The concept of Jawali was a very important landmark. Later on, he built a new fort on Varapia hill nearby. It was named as Pratapgarh. This doubled the boundaries of Swaraj under Shivaji. Yashwanthav army to join the forces of Shivaji. Later, he built a new fort. Shivaji built a new fort in Borapia hill and it was named as Pratapgarh. The strong Rairi fort became a part of Swaraj. So students, finally, the strong fort, Rairi fort, has become a part of Swaraj. Shivaji was highly pleased to have this fort under his control. He changed his name to Raigad. So students, let us see the fill in the blanks of the chapter. The marvels of the dash marvels gathered around Shivaji. What is the answer, student? Yes, 12. Shivaji built another fort at Borpia hill and named it Dash. What is the answer? Yes, Pratapgarh. Kandaji and Baji were two Sardars in the service of Adil Shah. What is the answer? Yes, Gurpade. So students, let us see the answer the following. What title was conferred by Adil Shah upon the Moors of Jawali? Answer. Adil Shah had conferred the title Chandarahu upon the Moors of Jawali. What name did Shivaji give to the fort of Rairi? Answer. Shivaji gave the name of Raigad to the fort of Rairi. So students, let us see the give reason of the chapter. No one crossed More's path. Answer. More's jagged from Raigad to Koina valley was covered with thick forest. The Jawali forest was full of wildlife which roamed freely. More's Jawali was like a tiger's hideout. Therefore, no one crossed More's path. So students, let us now see answer in brief. What note did Shivaji send to Yashwantrao More? Answer. Shivaji stated in his note to Yashwantrao More that you will call yourself the Raja, but I am the Raja of this territory. This kingdom is Lord Shiva's gift to me. So, do not call yourself the Raja. Homework. So, students, let us see what is your homework. Find out the wrong pair. Paltan, Nimbalkar, Jawali, More, Supe, Jadav. So, students, please do the homework in the rough book. I hope you understood the chapter. Thank you.